Tokyo Perfect Drift revealed. More Monsters leaks. Spooky completes the TNA run. For now.
Hi, my name is Jonathan Houston of Pinball Magazine.
And I'm Martin Ayer from Pinball News.
And welcome to our monthly free audio podcast with the latest industry news from the industry of pinball. And this month we're a little ahead. Usually we're here the first week of the month, but since it's December and there's hardly any news, which still won't keep us from talking for 2 hours, but still, we decided we do this before New Year's Eve. So that's why we're here already now.
Yes, because let's face it, after New Year's Eve, we're all going to be too hungover to work out what year it is, let alone what month it was. So, yes, let's look back on the wonderful month of December. And where should we start?
Well, I'd say with the refreshing news, I would say that STR Pinball and Quetzal Pinball are teaming up together, and they revealed a new game called Tokyo Perfect Drift.
They did indeed. It's been designed by Antonio, who was, of course, well known for Captain Nemo Dives Again, and he told us that he was working on his follow-up to that game when STR Pinball came and asked him to design a rather simpler sort of single-level game, which seems to be very popular these days after games such as TNA and Beatles. Yeah. To sort of fill in before his game is ready next year. So Antonio worked on that and designed it, and he unveiled it on the 9th of December. And it is a single level game. It's a very attractive artwork package on it. Like Captain Nemo, it's got an LCD display, although this one's in the back box rather than in the playfield. If there's anything you want to add about the game, or any thoughts about it, Jonathan?
Well, I've seen a couple of videos of gameplay, and I'd say that I think the playfield looks interesting, but I'm still looking for a game. Mm-hmm. If you catch my drift.
Right. So
no pun intended.
It shoots well, but you're not seeing any sort of any progression or any rule set or anything that
or even a simple like what are you supposed to do?
Right. Yeah. Some objectives in the game.
Right. So it is an interesting layout. I'd say that I thought the art package looked very nice and refreshing.
It's certainly very colourful. I'd say that, with all the purples and blues in there, and almost neon effects. I
did see some Facebook posts of people immediately objecting against the artwork because it was too sexy, apparently, for some people. Let's just call it what it is.
Yeah.
And it appears to me, maybe I'll cut this or maybe I won't. But it appears to me that more and more people seem to bother themselves more with whether something is politically correct than get excited about a new game being revealed. And these are people that are supposed to be in the hobby. And I think it's rather worrisome that political correctness is taking over the excitement for a new game.
Yeah, I agree. There seems to be quite a few people out there who want to be offended by anything they can find, and not necessarily on their own behalf, but on behalf of other people who they think they should be supporting and be offended for. But anyway, let's not dwell on that too much, because it is a season of goodwill, and that can always be a New Year's resolution to be a little more accommodating, shall we say, and accepting of other people's opinions. But getting back to Tokyo Perfect Drift, yes, it's bright neon color. I think the artwork is very much in keeping with the theme and the way those races are held in Japan. So I don't think there's any complaints on that level.
No, it's probably very authentic, I'd say.
Yeah, I think so. It's bright, it's garish, it's fast, and yeah, you're right. It does he does have those elements which some people might find a problem with. But hey,
complain to the
how
Japanese.
they actually are.
Right.
Yeah, that's true to life, I'd say.
What I also in the videos that I saw, what I noticed is that there was some sort of a trance track as audio in the background, but it didn't have the effect that the soundtrack of TNA had on me.
Mm. Yes.
So I'm all for trance music in pinball, but this was just like a placeholder music, and there was nothing. There were no modes. Nothing was changing. We're just flipping the ball around on a trance track, and that was it.
Yes, I think when they launched the game, there was apparently about 50% of the rules in there, and only 2 songs in at the moment, which are composed by Antonio's brother, Cristobal.
Right.
But there'll be a lot more music in the game over the next few weeks, and the rest of the rules will be put in as well. So, but the price is €4,395.
Well, that's something that's surprising, I'd say.
Yeah, it's a low end price, $5,000, just under £4,000, I guess plus tax in whatever region you're buying it, and actually start expecting to manufacture these games in January.
Right.
So with most of the parts coming from Spain.
Right. So I'd be tempted to buy one but I want to see more rules first, because from what I saw right now, it looks good, but I'm still missing a game.
Yeah,
in the game, so to speak.
Well, the rules are always going to be fairly simplistic, I think. But yes, there's no reason they couldn't have more in there, or all the rules which have been spelled out and haven't been implemented yet will obviously get in there.
Right. So, and maybe I don't know. Maybe they need someone with an objective eye to look at the playfield and maybe come up with a completely different rule set than what they have in mind, and that might actually work better.
Yes, I wonder what the possibilities might be of doing some sort of customization option where you can actually write your own rules if you wanted to.
Right.
Obviously, it's using Antonio's own controller board, so that may or may not be possible. But we can find out over the next few weeks.
Right. And still, for the price that you're paying for that game, I'm almost surprised that they are breaking even on that, let alone making money.
Yeah, well, there isn't a lot of hardware in the game, is there? There are no sort of big toys in there, other than the screen, I suppose, which is almost like a standard these days. The rest of it being drop targets or stand-up targets, and pop bumpers and slingshots and flippers, and that's about it, really. I don't. Probably the most impressive part is going to be the lighting on it, which I think they have a lot of scope to do some nice effects on, particularly once they start races and things like that.
Okay. Well, anyway, good luck for them.
So that's a game. That's one game which is coming up.
Right.
Now, if we move over to almost the opposite end of the manufacturing spectrum to the biggest pinball manufacturer, and Stern, and what they've been doing and what they've been, should we say, revealing? Yeah, teasing us with.
Teasing, yeah.
Yes, good idea. So, yes, well, let's start with what they're doing now, because the game Primus, which we just got in the last podcast,
right,
as having just been announced, that is now shipping. I don't know how it's selling. Well, they're only limiting it to 108 machines, I believe, which is 100 for sale and 8 for the team and the band and the promotional company.
Right. What I understood is that they are manufacturing the first 50 this month in December, and the remaining games will be on the line in January. Right.
Okay. So I did have a quick look at the Primus merchandise shop just now to see what if you can buy them there, and it lets you order up to 6 at a time. through the shop there. Whether that means they have 6 or they just put some artificial number in to stop people messing about too much. But yes, if you want to buy the game, you can order it through Primus's merchandising.
Okay. So, and what's interesting to note is that on Facebook appeared a photo of the Primus game being in production, with in the background monsters also being assembled.
Yes, I didn't see that myself, but I heard about it, and that's one of the leaks about monsters. One of the many leaks about monsters that we've had from Stern, either intended or not. You make your own mind up on that,
right?
I think we think it's all planned,
carefully choreographed.
Yeah, quite right. And the actual launch date or the reveal date of the monsters has not been set in stone yet. But there's a lot of speculation that it's going to be.
With the game being on the line, I'm pretty sure that we can expect the game to be shown at the CES show in January and the EAG show in London as well.
Yeah, CES show runs January 8th to 11th in Las Vegas, so you can probably expect it to be revealed slightly before that, in the week before, the 2nd to the 7th or something like that, and then appearing at the CES show. And then, as you say, over the EAG show in London a week or so later.
Right. So, and one of the other leaks around monsters was that apparently a Primus game shipped with a monsters manual inside instead of a Primus manual. Now that's a mistake. I find that very, very odd for something to occur like that as an accident. That either it must have been choreographed, or either it's a completely made up story, which is just a nice story to add, and everybody's buying it apparently. I have to say I didn't fully investigate it on Pinside. I didn't dive into the monsters thread. For all these clues and whether somebody actually got that manual, because I think there were only 2 pictures, and I see the same pictures popping up all over again all the time. So
I think I saw there was a list of rules that was spelled out in the manual for the game, so that might add some credence to that.
Right. So, but anyway, no matter how you look at it, Monsters is coming. There's no doubt about it.
Yes, indeed. It's not on the Stern website yet, but speaking of the Stern website, they have a new website,
right?
With lots of scrolling tickers and lots of big pictures. It's been given a refresh. Looks very sort of WordPressy to me. I'm sure the previous one was as well.
No, the previous one was different. Actually, I have to say I like this new website of Stern better than the previous one.
I had a slightly negative experience with it, I suppose, when I first loaded it up, because I was doing it on my phone and it only half loaded the first time, which ended up with you only getting like the first 4 characters of each game name. So you get like the B or something, where it's
that's why we have abbreviations.
Yeah, right. But it's doing that for all of them. So it's a nice little game to try, and the pictures weren't appearing either. So it was a nice, interesting game to try and work out what the games really were. Or you just get something that said "dead" on it, which wasn't that great, But since then, I've loaded it again a couple of times, and it's been fine. So I was just teething troubles at the time, but yes, it's a lot bigger. There's a lot of stuff on there now. A lot of good content, including the sort of game location finder and the Stern Pro circuit rankings on there, and all on the front page. So looks nice.
Right. So, and to conclude Stern for now, quite a few code updates as well this month. We've seen code updates for Deadpool, Batman, Beatles, Guardians of the Galaxy, Aerosmith, and another update for Kiss, which I think is basically some bug fixing on the previous update of KISS, which was last month, which was a big surprise for many. So,
and yet still no Ghostbusters update, which will annoy a number of people. Or I'm sure it's coming, but every time another code update comes out, there's always the chorus of "Where's the Ghostbusters code?"
Yeah, not to mention Wheel of Fortune.
Oh well, yes, any day now, I'm told. Any day.
Right. Okay. So moving on to Spooky Pinball.
Yeah. So TNA.
Total Nuclear Annihilation. That is.
Yeah. Good point. That was going to max out on the current run at 550 units.
Right.
That was expected to have been done by now. I'm not sure that actually. Well, they've reached that number and done the moves towards starting production on the next title, which is, of course, Alice Cooper's Nightmare Castle.
Right.
Have you heard anything from Wisconsin?
Well, what I understood is that, as far as all the games that have been ordered have been built, and they're so that doesn't mean that they reached 550 yet, but the games they are building now are games, so they have games in stock, and if you call Spooky and you want to order a TNA, they might have it immediately in stock and they can ship it to you right away. And from what I sort of understood, let's say they're less than 30 games away from finishing up.
Right, so that presumably means that TNA is officially their most successful game to date.
Yes.
Well, congratulations to Scott and the team.
Right, yeah. So, and obviously the game might be taken into production again after Alice Cooper if there is demand, but if you don't want to wait that long, you can order a game right now at Spooky. And
yeah, and they have some in stock, right?
Right. So, moving on, looking at my notes here.
I'm wondering what we're going to cover next. It's exciting.
Okay, so Homepin has been building a new batch of Thunderbird pinball, and apparently a container of games shipped out the door earlier this month. And if I'm not mistaken, that container is heading for Australia.
Well, hopefully that includes the games which were bought early by Australian buyers, and there's a bit of a hoo-ha about them not getting the games and who was going to pay for shipping and how shipping was going to be arranged. So hopefully that's all been sorted out now, and those games are, if not already arrived in Australia, are on their way.
Right. So, and it's also worth noting that on their Facebook page, Homepin posted that they are now using metal pellets, which they actually screw the games on for shipment. They had a couple of incidences where games got damaged during transport, apparently either due to wooden pellets not being basically failing in what they should be doing, or games falling off a pallet. So in this case, with the games being basically bolted to the pallet, they should not fall off. And since it's a metal pellet, it should be sturdier than wooden pellets, or last longer.
Yes, I guess they would bend rather than snap as a wooden pallet would. But it's surprising that it's cost effective for them to do that. I know the cost of various products in China are or can be surprising, as Mike has explained various times now, how it's often cheaper to make, or at least no more expensive to make stainless steel parts than it is regular steel parts. So maybe they have a very good line on the metal they're using for the pallets, and they're getting a good deal for that. That doesn't make the game, doesn't increase their production costs too much.
Right. Okay. So so that covers Homepin. Obviously, they're still manufacturing parts for more games, so that will keep them busy. And they are working on a second game, but there's no real news on that.
No. Although various hints have been given over time as to what that title is. Mike hasn't actually announced it yet.
Right, but it should be the game is supposed to be aiming at the Chinese market. So.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Speaking of the Chinese market, that reminds me of a photo or a video I saw earlier today, coming by on my Facebook, where a Japanese company came out with a Space Invaders themed head-to-head pinball
that was
machine.
Taito, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah. And interestingly enough, the hardware layout of that game is exactly the same as Super Pong Pong Bar, which is a game that was shown, I think last year at the Amusement Expo show in Las Vegas. It's by a Taiwanese company called Wetsche. They even advertised for that game in Pinball Magazine number 5. So you can look up the ad over there. But this, the Taito game apparently has different artwork on the playfield, I would say, but the layout is exactly the same. So, and it appears to be a sort of a multi-ball game where multiple balls are launched at the same time, and it's a head-to-head game. So basically, you're trying to flip the balls over to the other side of your opponent's playfield.
Yeah, it's a bit like Joust or those Alvin G Soccer Ball and those types of games. It's actually entitled Space Invaders Pinball Jam. And it seems to have a fairly simplistic looking layout on the playfield.
Right.
But it is, as you said, it's a multi-ball game and it looks like it has sort of almost rubberized balls to it. So it's not like proper steel pinballs. But it is a sort of a flipping frenzy to try and keep the balls in your opponent's side and hit various targets on their side rather than just like Joust and well, basically every game pretty much that employs head-to-head play.
Right.
It's interesting that they're thinking that physical pinball is the way to go rather than using a sort of a video pinball version, which would be quite easy to do.
Right. Well, it might be a refreshing game for the Japanese arcades.
Yeah, it could be fun for redemption play as well, I'd have thought.
Right. So there's that, and okay, let's move on to Jersey Jack.
Yes, so the collector edition of Pirates of the Caribbean, which remind me, that's the base version.
No, that's
right?
the limited one.
Oh, it's the limited edition. Okay.
Well, the super limited, how you want to call it. So the most expensive model.
Right. Okay. And that is now being shipped. Is that right? Or being manufactured and shipped.
Yes.
That's now on the line. And to go with that, they had a code update as well, which is version 0.98. Not quite version 1, not quite fully featured, but almost.
Yeah, that's quite worrisome, actually, because that means that they're still putting more into the game, and there's already plenty.
Well, maybe putting more, maybe making sure what they put in works properly. They may not be adding more features.
True.
Right. We spoke last time, and in our Christmas wish list about simpler, more easily understood game rules. So hopefully they're not making them even more complex than they already are.
Hopefully not, but oh well, we'll see. So, and on a side note, obviously everybody is familiar with Jack Guarnieri, founder of Jersey Jack Pinball, and he became a grandfather again. His daughter Jen, who is also working at the company, gave birth to Gary Salvatore Di Cosmo.
Oh, okay.
And that was, I think it was on Christmas Day, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, congratulations to them and to everyone in the family.
Exactly. So, and What do I hear? Is that your phone ringing?
Oh, hang on. No, it's not, actually.
Oh,
No.
hold on.
Is it yours?
Could be, but I don't know where my... Yeah, it's me. I think it... Oh, well... Speak of the devil, I'd say.
You're such... with the name... Gary?
Right.
Oh, wow. Well, what's Gary Stern doing calling it this time? He should know that we're doing this podcast. I'm sure you told him.
I didn't tell him, and it's not Gary Stern.
Oh, who is it then?
It's the other Gary.
That Gary Flower.
Yeah,
right,
exactly.
Okay.
So,
I bet he's got some really exciting news to share with us.
Right.
You should answer it and find out what it is he's got, because we could include it in the podcast.
Okay, so let's find out. Let's switch over to Gary.
What?
Hang up. He does it every time. Every time I want to reach out for my phone and answer his call, he's gone.
Oh, it's almost like he knows you're about to answer. I wonder if he's listening to us.
Oh my God!
Well, that have to remain our New Year's resolution then, to get him on the show.
Right. Yeah. So let's hope in 2019 we'll finally manage to get him on the show.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we'll definitely arrange for him to make a special appearance and bring us some late breaking industry news.
Right. Okay. So moving on. There was an interesting post on Facebook concerning the Texas Pinball Festival, and not so much the festival, but apparently the organizers of the Texas Pinball Festival have also been working in setting up a Texas Pinball Museum.
Yes, that was a bit of a shock, but it's exciting news. I haven't got any more details of it other than the picture that was on Facebook showing the exterior of the unit that they're in. It looked a bit like an office to me, rather than having a big sort of shop window to show what they have inside. But maybe that's just another tease, like a Stern-like tease, showing us what's coming.
Well, you never know how big the building behind the door is, so...
Exactly, yeah. Well, that is exciting, and they do hope to be up and running by the time of the Texas show in March. So,
right. Well, I hope so too. So that gives us at least somewhere to go now that we're not going to Deep Root.
Well, just they're not coming to us doesn't mean we're not going to them, of course.
Right.
So that was the museum, and the latest addition to the Texas Pinball Show, or Texas Pinball Festival lineup of guests was added.
Well, Barry Osler has been confirmed to be in attendance as well.
Yep, so Barry is obviously working at Deep Root in San Antonio, and might be able to share a little information about what's going on down there in the absence of Deep Root themselves launching their games at the Texas Pinball Festival. But there'll be a lot going on anyway.
Right. So we mentioned a couple of code updates for games. American Pinball also released a code update for Houdini. It was like magic appearance. Here's a new code update.
Wow. Do we know what's in it? Is it
no.
A significant one? Okay.
I have no idea.
Obviously, they're working hard on bringing Oktoberfest to the market and getting that ready for launch, or for production, I suppose. So it's good that they're still working on a few tweaks for Houdini as well. So
right,
nice to see. And talking of code updates, one which came across my radar in the past week or so was a rather unexpected code. I don't call it an update, but a code variation maybe for Revenge from Mars.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly. After all this time. 1999, and it comes out in 2019, so a 20-year anniversary almost.
Right.
Jim Askey of My Pinballs has been working on making some tweaks and a couple of new features in the game. They're not sort of groundbreaking in in terms of how the game plays, but he's added a new hurry-up feature to it, and some new championship, where you enter your initials for getting the most. There's one for like missiles and hypno beams destroyed, and some underlying code and service menu changes as well. So I would say rush over and download that at I think it's mypinballs.com. Yeah, mypinballs.com, version 2.0. Where you can download the code and look at all the changes that have been made in version 2. But as I say, I was going to say just rush over and download it, install it, but of course that uses ROMs, doesn't it? EPROMs.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, so. On the unless you're running one of the emulators, in which case it'd be a lot easier. But if you still got the original game, you'd have to burn some EPROMs and or have somebody else burn them for you and install that. So, Well, anyway, go and have a look, see if you think it's worth a while. Yeah. I think it is, and if you'd like it, feel free to make a donation and support Jim's work.
Actually, I think you just unintentionally mentioned something that actually would have been very, very cool. If there would be an official 20th anniversary update for a game, or I mean, that could be a 25th anniversary game for another game. But something like that, of course, is very unlikely to happen.
Well, one might say maybe that's what's planned for Ghostbusters.
Well, yeah, that could work. Yeah, so, but it's a fun idea, something. Oh well, but that's up to manufacturers or people hacking games and so on. And I guess for Chicago Gaming, that sort of applies to Monster Bash, the remake, that is.
Good point.
Which is like a 21st year anniversary kind of remake kind of thing. So.
Mm-hmm. One more item of news, which is slightly sad news. Was a couple of days ago, there was a big collection of pinballs in Germany, which was destroyed when fire burnt through the building. That was Ingo Kramer's collection, over 100 games.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
It is. It is devastating, I'm sure, but fortunately, no human lives were lost, and there were no injuries. But seeing all that work he put into building out that collection destroyed is really devastating, and apparently it wasn't insured either. The building was, but the collection wasn't. So it was rumoured that it might have been started by a car that was parked outside catching fire, and then that spread to the building. But anyway, let's not dwell too much on that. But just a reminder to make sure you keep your collections and yourselves safe, and insure your collection if you're concerned about anything like that happening. It's not necessarily a huge amount of money if you can add it onto your household insurance. A bit different if you have a completely separate operation, but insuring your pinballs won't bring them back, but might make it easy to replace them.
Right, and also note that this isn't the first fire destroying pinballs this year. Apparently earlier this year in Australia, also a complete game room went up in flames.
Oh my goodness! Well, it's more common than you might think then. So make sure you check everything, check your wiring, and make sure there's no fire risk there.
Right. So well, hopefully Ingo will recover and won't leave the hobby after this.
Yes. Let's hope so. Let's send him all our best wishes anyway.
Right.
So hope 2019 starts out in a much better way than 2018 finished.
Right. So, and wow, this is really amazing. I mean, we're less than 40 minutes on the way and we're done.
Unbelievable. Well, December's always a bit of a quiet time, what with the holiday season and things being held back until the start of the next year. So It's not really too surprising, but we hope you had a lovely time over the festive period, and looking forward to 2019 being an exciting year for pinball. I'm going back to working on my look back at the whole of 2018 in a long article for Pinball News, which is taking even longer than I thought because quite a lot happened last year.
Right.
And wrapping it all up into one article is taking some work. And I'm sure you're going to be busy, Jonathan, as well over the next few days and weeks.
Right. Yeah. At some point I should probably start working on the next issue of Pinball Magazine. But for now I'm still busy with other projects that I'm working on, so I'm not in a real rush. Pinball Magazine number 5 came out in August, and I give it a couple of more months, and then I start working on the next issue, I guess.
Yeah, excellent. Well, we're looking forward to that. Is that still the Python Angelo
as
edition,
I'm currently planning, yes.
Right. Okay.
So
good.
And may I remind people that sorry.
Has it plenty of material to work with there?
Yeah, oh, absolutely, yeah. So, and, speaking of printed publications on pinball, there has been that publication that was Pinball Adventures, but the quality was sort of lacking, I'd say. I did receive my copy of the first print of that book, and I can see where other people are complaining about the quality, and it's a pity. I even understood that there's now a second print, which is actually, oddly enough, smaller sized than the first print, and the paper is a little bit thicker, but still not glossy or anything like that, and still not as thick as it should be. So, yeah,
does that have all the not all, but does it have the grammatical errors and the typesetting issues sorted out? In the new version, like I think there was a repeated section and spell checking and all that kind of stuff. Proofreading basically wasn't really done on it before it went to press the first time. Do you know if that's been addressed in the reprint?
I have seen people asking about that on Pinside, but I haven't seen a confirmation that they actually fixed things. Although it would seem odd that the Dr. Dude chapter had the text for Whitewater. It would seem odd to me if they did at least not fix that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that sort of all ended a little acrimoniously, didn't it? With the publisher and Todd giving their versions of what happened, it's clear that it wasn't exactly wasn't how either of them were anticipating it turning out.
Right. Still, at least they came out with something. Which can't be said for the 30 years of Stern Pinball book that has been in anticipation of those who funded it for almost 2 years now.
Perhaps they're going to do the anniversary. Perhaps it will be the 30th anniversary of the 30th anniversary.
Ooh.
That's when it will come out.
Right. There's 2019 around the corner, and maybe they will get it done this next year. So let's hope for that.
Yes, well, let us wrap this up then and wish you all the very best for enjoyable and safe and happy celebrations for the start of 2019.
And the same to you. Thank you.
And let's hope that 2019 brings plenty of excitement and a very positive type of excitement to the pinball world and to you and all our listeners. So with that, I think we'll wish everyone a very happy time, and we'll see you at the next free Pinball News, Pinball Magazine, Pinball Podcast, which will be at the latest at the end of January, the start of February. But we will be getting together at the EAG show in London in the middle of the month. So who knows what will come out of that? Maybe we'll have some exclusive interviews that we want to bring you earlier. But until either of those things happen, it's goodbye from me.
And for me as well. Wishing you all the best for 2019. And on behalf of Martin and me, thanks for listening, and Happy
New Year!